Greetings, friends! Lately, I've been thinking.
Really?
It's been about 11, 12 years now ago that we first started homesteading.
Yep.
We started homesteading in the city, and then we decided a few years later to sell pretty much everything and then move out here to the country where we now live here in a yurt, and where we have been homesteading for the past several years now. But when we started here, I still remember when I was starting the garden, we didn't have any tools, didn't have a budget for tools, so only tools we did have were a shovel and a mattock and a wheelbarrow.
Yep.
So I remember starting garden beds with a mattock and a shovel and just slowly just prepping the beds, getting a workout in, all at the same time.
And I think the wheelbarrow even had one broken handle, so it was way shorter. So you had one long one and one short one, and we were working with what we had. That's our big thing: is start where you're at with what you have and move forward. And that's what we were doing.
And I also still remember at that time I wasn't able to go out and buy compost and things like that. I remember we have a lot of clay around here. And gradually, all over time that we've been working with the soil, we've been trying to improve that clay. But I still remember when I first started, I would shovel the clay soil, and then we had this metal screen that I would pour the buckets of clay on that screen and just shift it and screen it out. And all the looser pieces would go into the wheelbarrow. This wheelbarrow actually had two handles, and then I would just cart it around with the loose soil, and it was so much easier to use. And let me tell you, doing all that was pretty laborious, and I definitely got my workout in. And thinking about having to work like that and garden like that and homestead in ways where it's just hand tools and just your hands and your body, it made me think back to times in the past in our human history when that's what most people did. They didn't have World Gym, Planet Fitness, Gold's Gym, and all these things to go to because they needed to go get their exercise because they didn't during the day. No. And all their day-to-day demands of life and activities, most of them lived in agrarian society, they would have gotten all the exercise that they needed from their various chores and tasks of life. And it makes me even think of Jesus now. He was a carpenter, and he didn't have power tools and to work with. He just had probably just hammer, chisel, things like that. And in the area he lived, it would have been just moving around a lot of stones. So they would have had a lot of physical activity and exercise from just the things that they did during life. But over the time that we've been here on the homestead, we've gradually started adding different equipment. I added a mini cultivator so I didn't have to use a mattock and a shovel anymore, nor have to screen my soil. And we've also added things like a lawn tractor to really help with moving things around, so I don't have to cart the wheelbarrow everywhere. The lawn tractor can actually help us out with that. And then we recently have added a log splitter, a Champion log splitter, and it's really been helping us out, so I don't have to just split everything by hand with an axe and a maul anymore, even though I still try to do that from time to time, because even with adding all that equipment, it's still good to make sure you keep a balance, to make sure that at some point in the day and in your work or whatever it is, that you're getting some exercise, because our bodies need to be able to do those things. But at the same time, sometimes we need to do tasks and things more efficiently, so we do need those tools from time to time. And we also have access from time to time to some bigger equipment like the skid steer and the lull, which you get to operate on a lot. And how do you feel about using the skid steer?
Well, I like to do it. I've been doing it for a very long time, so it's fun to drive tractors.
And you do a good job at it. She's mostly the one that does that, and I'm usually the guy on the ground just kind of moving stuff around, help load, move the forks and things like that. But you also, I know how to drive the skid steer, but I don't know how to operate the lull, and you're able to operate that.
Yeah.
Now she's been doing her whole life. Lacie is much better at driving that thing than I am. She's done it for a long time. And the delivery driver was actually pretty surprised when she was the one that was going to drive it, because he was looking at me, talking to me like I was going to drive. And I was like, nope, she's going to be the one driving it. And it's not the first time this happened. It's happened other times, but it's always interesting. They think I'm going to be the one operating the heavy equipment, but Lacie is so much better.
Yeah, my dad taught me how to how to run the lull for the first time whenever he was up on a pallet on the forks, and he wanted me to lift him up to clean their second story gutters, and I'm like, I've never done this before. He's like, I trust you, you can do it. So yeah, that was my first experience running the lull.
And it does come in handy, even though both the skid steer and the lull aren't equipment that is ours. We do have access to it, to those from your dad, and that really came in handy here recently when we had our AC units for a walk-in cooler finally arrived since we ordered them in February, and we just got them and it's November. But unloading those things, we definitely needed the lull to do that. But one of the larger equipment that I do get to use from time to time that is actually my favorite one to use is the excavator. And I really enjoy using that.
That's my least favorite one. So it works out. It works out.
Dig and rip stuff out. And I'm on there. All right, Micah, you ready?
Ready and ready.
We move like a turtle in this thing, don't we? Alright, so as we're coming up on our area that we've been working on here, we're just going to start by just moving some of the brush. I'm going to push it aside, and we're going to rent a chipper or something and just grind it up later on. So I'm just going to push this over to the side so that way we can work with it later, and then slowly start pulling out some of these roots here.
My brain thinks too much for the controls, so I get all, I mean, I can do it, but it gets where like, oh wait, I gotta stop, and then I gotta think about it too much. So I would rather do the skid steer or the lull that I don't have to think about as much.
But regretfully, the excavator is down.
Yeah.
As well as our lawn tractor right now is down. And the skid steer that she typically uses on a normal basis is down too. So, sometimes your equipment goes down, but the jobs still have to be done. So one of the things that we've been doing here in the last couple days is we have been burning and shifting logs and wood around, and we had to do some of this by hand. So we loaded up the gorilla cart, which usually is pulled around by the lawn tractor, but we loaded it into the back of the gorilla cart, and we just had the muscle power pull it up there. So Micah was helping me out.
Yeah, we made the kids do it. No, not really, not really. Well, they had to help, but you know.
So Micah was helping me out with the first load, and man, we were pulling it over there. And is it burning?
Yeah.
Where's it burn at? Your leg? It burns my booty. It's starting to burn a little bit. We're almost there. on. You gonna make it? Are you gonna survive? Are you okay? You gonna make it? You gonna make it? All right, you're all right. Yeah. Way to go. So the next load, you and Sailor had the opportunity to do.
That's right.
Feeling the burn, ladies?
Yeah.
What's burning the most?
Legs.
Legs? What about you? You feeling any burn?
Calves.
Calves?
Yeah.
Farm pit workout, right, ladies?
That's right.
It burns right in here the most.
Your thighs?
Like at the top of the hill, that's where it burns.
It's on, not the moon.
Yeah, and I roasted all of myself.
You gotta show your superior strength and endurance. So the wood that we were transporting here, we were transporting it up to where we are burning some of the stumps that I pulled out with the excavator over a year ago. We want to just get those things out of the way. So all the scrap wood, we were just transporting it up there to burn that wood.
And it wasn't just scrap wood, it was trash wood. It was like, you know, it was rotten and or on the bottom of the pile and everything. So it wasn't anything that we would put in our wood stove. We like to burn that. We don't just want to trash it.
Yep, we needed to clean up, so that junk wood needed to get out of the way and be cleaned up, and it helps with burning up those stumps. So I also got an early start this morning, continuing the process with getting my exercise in since we don't have that equipment around. So I was continuing on with the Gorilla cart, and I try to go a different way because one of the things that I've learned, because one of my goals is I don't want to go to the gym. Why do all the things that we do here, have equipment do everything, and then at the end of the day need to go to the gym because I didn't get my exercise? I think that's just crazy. I don't want to go to the gym anymore because I know what I need to do here. So we had some logs that were down by the ducks that I was just picking up and carrying just like this right up the hill. So we definitely have been getting some extra exercise in here lately, but we definitely look forward to having some of that equipment back so we don't have to work quite as hard. But we're still small scale, so some of those things are just easily we can be more adaptable.
Yeah. But
some of the farms, some larger farms, cannot be adapt as easily to some of the bigger things that they have to do. It's like some of these larger farms that we have been to, like even where we get our feed from for our animals, our chickens and our ducks. Our friend Landon, he operates a farm that he just has so many, and we really appreciate these kind of farmers because we need their feed. And I still remember riding with him, and it's my first time riding with him in the big combine as he was harvesting the corn.
Really not. A lot of people say, are you cutting corn yet? Well, we really don't cut corn. Corn's never really cut. If I go slow, watch the head. You'll see those stalks. They're actually pulled down straight to the ground. And the ear snaps off of it. Oh, wow. A little bit of the stalk comes in the combine. Mainly the stalks is actually on the ground. They just get pulled down. So it's snapping it off.
Oh, wow.
Or picking it.
So it's not very often that I have the opportunity to ride in large equipment like that. I don't ever plan on adding or implementing that type of farming with us. It's just not what I desire to do, but I'm very thankful again for farmers like Landon. But here recently I also got to ride in a tractor at the Lawrence Farms as they were harvesting mint. And that was a pretty neat process to see them doing that. And they definitely need the larger equipment that they have. But I also had the opportunity while we were there to drive one for the first time. I got to ride one with our friend Landon, and I got to ride it in another one as they were harvesting the men. But the 4-track, Josh Lawrence let me actually operate and drive it all by myself.
Big boy toys.
All right, so Josh is letting me have a hand at driving a tractor for the first time. This is pretty neat. This thing's pretty big. It's pretty cool. So look here. Got all this over here, which we're not gonna touch. We're just gonna worry about right here. Clutch here, brake here. However, he says that the brake never really gets used. So hopefully I won't have to use it. I asked Taylor if she wanted to drive and she said no. I couldn't even get her to come on the inside with me as I'm driving. There's Taylor right up there. Alright, we'll park right there. That was fun. Let's go. Now let's do something. Decided to drive around, right? Tracks are huge. Man. Man, was that neat or what? Well, do you have a favorite piece of equipment that you like to use? Let us know in the comment section below. Well, we're going to be working on getting our equipment up and going again because we do need them. But whether we get them up and going sooner or later, we're still going to get our exercise in for sure.
That's right.
And we're going to keep making progress here. Striving to, at least. See you next time.